This chapter has an unbelievable amount of stuff going for it on all sides of the aisle. Whether it's the wholesome and it's the cheering and it's the yeah, like Kuma being father of the year, he's not the stepfather. He's the father that stepped up. Being an actual Giga Chad, he gets some salutes there. But of course, how it got to the first place when it came to Ginny. And ironically and so sad and tragic how Kuma, last chapter, didn't marry Ginny because he didn't want his Buccaneer blood to be the reason why she was captured by, let's say, the Celestial Dragons. It happened anyway when she was a Revolutionary Army commander. Bonney is the result of that. Bonney, we now know she has Celestial Dragon DNA. DNA. It's in the blood. The blood doesn't lie. Like one Don Quixote do Flamingo. And now we see why Akainu was so concerned, at least to a degree, why it was so concerned in the pre-time about Bonney's situation. Bonney has the blood of the quote-unquote One Piece gods, bro. And speaking of gods, when Kuma is crying, Ginny in his arms, what do we see in that cross? We see the symbol that we've seen time and time again pertaining to the Kozuki clan, the very flag that we see the people of Alabasta waving to see Vivian King Cobra off. We've seen before on Skype a few times. Yes, this symbol, added again in the middle of the cross, boom, what appears to be some sort of sun-like figure. So this is good stuff. Obviously, what people could not stop talking about, which was not good stuff, the fact that now we know that Bonney was in fact born a natural birth, not a test tube baby birth, but this reveals that her genuine time on planet Earth, or whatever planet they're on, let's call it all blue, agenda, well, it's only been 12 years. Oh, and that was a conversation. Oh, which in the future, probably upload, of course, to the channel. But talking about Oda has done a few things when it comes to Bonney's poses and designs. I mean, literally earlier this arc, Bonney was shirtless. Literally. Of course, certain characters, Sanji, Blackbeard, Bonney this, Bonney that. And now it's like, oh, wait, hold on. What? What's going on, bro? This is crazy. And keep it a stack with characters like Momonosuke, who is mentally an 8-year-old kid, and of course, Oden, the Chad of Wano, who was going into like the pleasure quarters when he was 6 years old, or when he was like 7 years old, something like that. People didn't necessarily care much, at least as far as I can gauge, compared to the Bonney situation. But ultimately, you can argue, essentially, that Oda has been doing this for quite some time now when it comes to certain age barriers, where these barriers are blow away. Just how we had the whole thing with S-Hawk, and Oda has certain comments that I know Sam and Arlong Park translated, and it was like, wait, what's going on here? There was a lot going on for this chapter, and if you want to see my chapter reaction for this chapter, you know where to go, in the box below, to the Cole Requiem channel, and of course the post-stream discussion for said chapter on my twitch.tv channel as well. But this chapter, it was heavy, man. It really was. Kuma, Ginny, what happened to her, Bonney having the disease, the Sapphire Scale, which honestly, God, feels like it was a play on Grayscale from Game of Thrones. And what came to my mind first and foremost was what happened in the Law flashback with the white lead disease. Technically speaking, Law didn't find a cure for it. He was able to remove it from his body because of what the OP is in the name, people. OP, no me. In the future, will this be brought up? For sure. I think so, because I think that Chopper may be the one to actually cure these incurable diseases, the white lead disease, this Sapphire Scale disease, and any other disease that are incurable. And what's also very intriguing here too is the fact that this disease is old. Very seldomly do folks see it nowadays. Why is it the case? There's something very intriguing about the disease, but I'll get to that soon enough in the video. Because even though the chapter has a lot going for it, for sure, without a doubt, what's not happening remains stagnant for a shocking amount of time in a Kuma, a Bartholomew Kuma flashback, which tackles the Revolutionary Army, and people and things are happening. There's so many things going on. Dragon remains the same. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. We haven't seen Dragon do anything. I am a firm believer in the shonen trope. Luffy has to meet Dragon before Luffy has, in whatever way you want to perceive it, surpass Dragon. Dragon is still the world's most notorious, the world's most wanted man. Dragon is still, on paper, an actual phenom, a stud, and when he does something, the folks that have been hodling, the folks that have been hodling Dragon stocks are going to see boons, gains the likes of which you've never seen before. However, damn dog.
Do something! Do something! Do something!
Ginny is captured. Make no moves. Honestly, at first, it did look pretty damn bad. I'm not gonna lie to you. However, circumstances are different, let's say, compared to what happened with the Reverie and Sabo and A Few Good Men. Because it was during the Reverie, a time when you argue they were at their most vulnerable to infiltrate and cause like a lot of damage. But outside of the Fisher Tiger situation, the Holy Land is locked down. On paper, invading the Holy Land to save a friend who's a slave is extraordinarily difficult to do, especially for a weaker version of the Revolutionary Army compared to today's version. Ginny got caught by a celestial dragon as a result of things that were definitely not savory. Things that, if I go into details, probably get me demonetized. Well, Bonney was born. Kuma, he stepped up, being an awesome dude, without a damn doubt, all right? He's doing the right thing. Part of me did really want Kuma to seal the deal with Ginny. In hindsight now, knowing what happened in this chapter to Ginny, it's leaves a bad taste in your mouth. It really does. Also, for the first time, we get to see Kuma in that same outfit with the white cloak around him and the glasses. The same outfit that we saw him in Bonnie's vision of Kuma when she stopped Luffy from attacking the pacifista officer earlier in this arc. And it was pretty funny seeing Kuma just keep Bonnie in a cage, making sure that like he didn't roll over and accidentally smush her, which that would be tragic, especially for a guy of his size, for number one. And number two, later on, seeing him train Sabo, that was cool. But knowing that he felt, I think rightfully so responsible for Bonney that he had to quit the Revolutionary Army. Keep in mind that last chapter, he viewed these guys as heroes, right? He gave that up to make sure that Bonney was okay when he realized that she had this disease, the one that took out Ginny. So ultimately, what I will say, let's break it down more fundamentally. This chapter does have, I think, pretty solid pace. It's not the greatest, but I think it's overall pretty good in terms of pace. The character components for this chapter, I think, are, like in a broad sense, light, but when we focus on one character particularly, Kuma in this chapter is strong. He's strong in this chapter, without a damn doubt. And then we got the Bonney stuff too. And again, Bonney, like we said before, is confirmed to have been born 12 years ago from the current time in One Piece. So in the pre-time skip, essentially Bonney was 10 years old. From pre-time skip, she was 10 years old at base. Now, I say at base for a very particular reason, pretty obviously. Where now we know exactly what's going on with her powers. She is the age human, the Toshi no Mi. She is literally changing her age. Bonnie's usual form is that of a 22 to 24-year-old girl, normally speaking. Just how Chopper's usual form is that chibi, uwu, cutesy merchandise form. In reality, Chopper's base state should be deer. On all four legs, eating grass. And when this arc first started off, when we see her trapped inside that giant ocean current, that warm eddy current, that is likely her base state. Not her usual state, but her base natural state. For all the folks that were diehard on the idea that Bonney was a girl, a little girl, not a clone of Ginny or actual Kuma, I thought, Kuma and Ginny's child, or let's say the crazier theories like she was the inheritor of Toki's ability and then she leapt forward in time
and flung him into the future.
No, wrong, false, negated, nada. Genuinely speaking, little girl, celestial dragon blood. But one of the biggest questions is who? Is it possible that we've already seen the celestial dragon that was the person that was sniping Ginny? I have a particularly crazy idea where this celestial dragon is Saint J. Garcia Saturn. Whoa! Whoa! That would be wild. J. Garcia Saturn ultimately is the one that makes the call in this arc that, yeah, it's fine, we can kill Bonney. And I don't think that Jay really would care if his own kid died. Now, it could be the case here where, given his disposition, his quote-unquote immortality, maybe he is more asexual, where he does not concern himself with matters of the flesh in that nature. However, there is something I do find interesting here, where his ability is probably tied to the Ushi Oni. And the Ushi Oni can do curses on people. In one of the myths of the Ushi Oni, the lord of Gokasho Castle shot one with the bow and arrow, and that Ushi Oni cursed his wife with an incurable illness. And this disease has been on for quite a bit of time, and it's very likely that Jay himself has been around for quite a bit of time. And there is something called Saturn Sapphire, which is in reference to Shannai, the personification, the divine personification of the planet Saturn itself in Hinduism. One of his consorts, Nila or Nilam, is the personification of the sapphire gemstone. So you see what I'm getting at here. Saturn Sapphire is happening in the form of a curse, a byproduct some way, somehow, of the Ushi Oni ability. We can go deep here, because it could be Saturn. Oh, yeah, trust me, that's messed up. I feel like the person that did take Ginny ultimately will be an important person. Not just a random celestial dragon with the bubble. If they are, fine, fair enough, I'm wrong. But I would say a god knight. Like, there's one god knight I have my eyes on. The guy with the skull mask, Baphomet, I call him Bohemian Grove. Actual weirdo. Maybe this person was covered up that way in broad daylight because they didn't want to get hit with the sun rays. We going deep. We going big. We going big, bro. There's a possibility where Bohemian Grove is a part of the same family of people that ultimately took Ginny in, and Bonnie's bloodline is of these people. One thing that is very telling of this situation with Bonney is the fact that she can't go outside in the sunlight. Any natural light, where right now it's sunlight, moonlight. Does it apply to bioluminescence? Probably not. Who knows? But natural light will cause the affliction to spread faster. You have the other kids calling her like a literal vampire. They bring out the cross.
Amen.
Isn't that ironic in a sense too, where you have Kuma, who essentially prays to the sun, because we see it in that cross, the sun sort of symbol. Then you have Luffy, who is the sun god Nika's Duffur ability user, and of course Luffy and Bonney are allies. The Buccaneer bloodline have been championing the ideas of Nika. You have Kuma over here, dun dun da da, dun dun da da. He's doing the dance, and Bonney, as a result, of course, all about that stuff too. But on the flip side, people like Jay, the Celestial Dragons, Emu, they're about that darkness. They're about that darkness, yo. They want to snuff out any lights. It feels like this disease is sort of like in lockstep with the ideas and the themes that center around Emu and the God Knights and the Celestial Dragons, snuffing out light and hope and joy and ushering sadness. That has to mean something. That absolutely, positively has to mean something directly with Emu or the Gorosei or the God Knights, something, without a damn doubt. Just how this one king, Bakori, who someone did point out during my stream, I think it was Sky King's this guy, last chapter, Ivankov and Dragon said, you're not gonna escape. Apparently, he either escaped or was in prison, and then 16 years later can just come back and once again try and take control of the Sorbet Kingdom. What were Dragon or Ivankov doing? He was on their watch. How does he come back 16 years later and start taking control of the kingdom again? Did he escape? Actually, how? Once again, Dragon stocks. Man, Dragon stocks are all over the place, bro. I can't, I have no idea. That being said though, I was 16 years ago. 16 holy bullets. 16 God rays that destroyed Lucia Kingdom. Keep in mind, and I've done a video on this over here. Very, very important. The current century in the world of One Piece is the 16th century based on the age of the Sea Circle or the Sea Serpent. We can dive deep. We can dive extra deep, man. The lore is there. The lore is there. And of course, what is undeniably there is that symbol. Once again, in the middle of the cross, the symbol of the sun and those 8 dots around it. We've seen before with Wiper on King Neptune with the Kozuki symbol. We have it again with the people that were in the flags as Cobra and Vivi Lee for the Reverie. Nah, this is Void Century goodness. This is Sun God Nika, Joy Boy, Monkey D. Luffy, goodness, man. This is why I say I'm so confident now, where Kuma's gonna come in and save Bonney like an actual stud, a phenom, a force of nature. But then Luffy, I think is gonna transform again to the sun god, the Nika form. And Bonney and Kuma are going to witness their dream, one of their dreams come true, just seeing Luffy laughing maniacally. You're gonna have that funky heartbeat, that dun 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 dun. Yeah. And then they're gonna see Luffy just devastate Jay somehow, some way, and it's gonna be glorious. They're gonna be moved, it's gonna be awe-inspiring, it's gonna be just supernatural, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Giving Jay a star gun, woo! That'd be fantastic. So this chapter overall, right? I thought it was a great chapter. Yeah, obviously, clearly, the sketch work, not the greatest, not by a long shot. Obviously, we all know by now that he couldn't meet the deadline and the manuscript for the chapter wasn't finished. Quality artwork, we have to wait, obviously, until the volumes of this chapter version drop. And keeping it a stack too, as a faithful Hunter x Hunter reader, this chapter was smooth sailing compared to a lot of Togashi Yoshihiro's non-manga volume chapters. Oh yeah. However, the biggest concern would be, let's say, the reason why he was late in the first place. Did it involve the live action? In the author notes, he mentions the One Piece anime's 25th anniversary banquet. Did it involve that? Other outside factors, maybe it's his eyes and the laser eye surgery. So hope for the best with Oda as per usual, but apparently there have been rumors that Oda is planning another 1 month break. The rumors so far as I understand, that's what I was told. Since right now we have just a 1 week break, but hope for the best and only time can tell. And also this chapter does have these other cool details, like for example, the book that Bonney reads that tells her about Skypiea. And apparently Fishman Island is the same Bible that Kuma was always carrying with him in the pre-time skip. Why would this Bible talk about Skypiea and Fishman Island? And also Bonnie's gold piercing she has on her face in real time is around the same spot where the first signs of her sapphire scale appear. What does that mean? Does gold have some sort of effect on the sapphire scale? If so, why? And who found that out? Did Vegapunk find that out? Perhaps even using knowledge during or predating the Void Century. This chapter is heavy, like in your face heavy. But then it has these lore nuggets that I think are just delectable. Oh, I can take that sun symbol and think about the O'Hara globe, planet and the moons, or potentially a geocentric model of the solar system. Salivation, baby. Yeah, that's what I need to say. This chapter I think is overall great. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Character was strong, pace was good, and when it came to the story progression, also pretty damn good too. So once again, overall, an 8 out of 10 for this week's chapter of One Piece. But let me know where you stand on this chapter. If you enjoy your boy's video, make sure to, of course, give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click on that bell to join the notification squad. I'm gonna catch you cats on the flip side.
See you. Bye bye.